Okay, thank you very much for joining tonight. And thank you very much for coming to this wonderful summer conference. Do you agree, wonderful? Okay. And the summer conference energy is very much representative of the energy of the universe itself. Very dynamic, right? Do you agree?
Oh yes, extremely.
Extremely. And also very peaceful at the same time. Dynamic yet peaceful, okay? So that's tonight's topic. Do we live in a peaceful universe or do we not live in a peaceful universe? Of course, our world, our human species, right? Very unfortunately, especially at the present time, is not very peaceful. Do you agree? Every day, war and violence all over the planet. Also, the threat of giant war is there too, right? Not just individual violence or small local scale. So our goal in Macrobiotics, as you all know, is one peaceful world. And in order for us to change our current not peaceful world into one peaceful world, we must reawaken our view of the universe as it is. And tonight, hopefully, we can begin to discover that that universe is in fact a very peaceful universe. And it's we who are out of touch with that universe, okay? So let's start with the most common, popular stories, theories of how the universe came into being. Okay? So there are a number of them. In fact, today, while getting ready to prepare for tonight, I watched a BBC documentary called The Big Bang. Very interesting. Because it presented the Big Bang theory together with a variety of other theories. So let's take a look, okay? What is this Big Bang? Big Bang represents one extreme of the spectrum of creation theories. And let me ask you, do you think this theory originated in the West or in the East? Big Bang. Very much Western. In fact, the person who dreamed this up was a Belgian priest. Okay? 1920s. And his dream was to find a scientific theory that matched the book of Genesis. So he came up with the Big Bang. Okay? And that theory is, about 13 billion years ago, from nothing, from an infinitesimal point, giant explosion came out, throwing out all of the matter in the universe, and ultimately leading to the formation of galaxies, our present universe, which many believe today to be an expanding universe. So if we have this so-called expanding universe, that had to have begun somewhere, right? So they look at today's supposedly expanding universe and march it backward and say it all originated from one single point, right? But that theory is stating that we all originated in violence. Everything that we see today, including all of us, everything, had a violent origin. Huge explosion, right? All right, so that's typical Western thinking. Then, another theory, this proponent of this theory claimed that before the Big Bang, there was something called inflation, the inflation. In other words, one of the weaknesses with Big Bang is what was there before. right? What was there before? And they say nothing. But this theory says there was this inflation throughout the universe. And the model used, the example used, is this inflation is like Swiss cheese. And what is the characteristic of Swiss cheese? Many what? Holes, right? So this inflation, within this, there were many big bangs, and each of these were a universe. Something like trillions of universes within this giant inflation, which is, they say, infinite. Okay? That theory is also Western. Maybe Switzerland, I don't know, right? Okay? Then next, as you go further east, people in India, Indian cosmologists, feel that the Big Bang, yes, was there, right? Okay? Creating the universe. But there had to be something before that. So they feel, right, that what was before that, can you imagine? You know, India, right? Cycles of karma, right? Cycles of yin and yang. Endless cycles, right? Expansion and contraction. So what do you think they say was before the Big Bang? What do you think, if you know yin and yang, right? This is yin, right? Expansion. So what had to precede that? Yang. So they say the Big Bang followed the contraction of the previous universe. Previous universe contracted to a certain point, not necessarily a singularity or a single point. And once critical mass was reached, then began to expand. Expansion and contraction. This is a little closer to our view, right? So before our present expanding universe, we had a contracting universe. And the name they give this is not Big Bang, but Big Bounce. In and then bounce back, right? Big bounce. I like that better, don't you? Sounds more like fun, right? Like on a trampoline. Big bounce, right? Then those with a more Far Eastern orientation. For example, do you know Michio Kaku? Have you heard of Michio Kaku? He's on TV all the time. He's Japanese American. I believe he's at Columbia. He has many books. But he's a classically trained physicist with a background, of course, Asian background like Zen, Buddhism, etc., from his ancestry, right? He's saying, yes, Big Bang was there, but before the Big Bang, we had energy, invisible waves of energy. And from this energy, matter would form. Okay? And one of these formations of matter then gave rise to the Big Bang. Something like a more Zen view. Okay, but still Big Bang. All right, so all of these theories, as varied as they are, going from extreme Western, more toward India, and then more toward Zen orientation, still embrace the idea of the Big Bang. Okay? All right, what do you think? Anybody? Please offer an alternate theory. Yes, please.
I've just recently come to this feeling and conclusion, and especially when this particular subject is discussed.
Please speak up so we can get you on the thing.
Okay. We use a very small percentage of our brain.
Okay.
So I really think, I really believe that we have a long way to go before we even can begin to understand our beginnings. And I'm of the feeling that there is no beginning and there is no ending.
So you're completely outside of these views,
Yes.
then, right? Okay. Anybody else? Yes, please.
In agreement with her, my query would be, even if it's energy, matter expanding or contraction, what occurred that allowed that first particle to be.
That's right. Yeah, there has to be. Big Bang has no cause.
Has no cause.
Cause and effect, right?
Precisely.
There's no cause there.
Right.
Okay? Maybe Big Bounce has more like a cause and effect. Michio Kaku maybe also a bit more cause and effect. Okay? Good. All right. And then, okay? So that's one idea. And as you can see in this handout, okay, modern cosmology and an open letter to the scientific community. Did you get? What this is saying is that Big Bang, of all of these theories, Big Bang actually dominates academic studies. Can you pick up? Please raise your hands, guys, who needs, right? Whoever needs, raise your hand. Simone's going to be our assistant here. And what that means is because Big Bang dominates academic institutions and publications, right, like scientific publications, it dominates the funding for research. So any research that attempts to go outside of the Big Bang, more often than not, does not get funded. Okay? Whereas Big Bang gets funded. And this Big Bang, we can say, is something like dogma. Dogma, okay? So this critique of modern cosmology is what, by the way? What is the definition of cosmology? Yeah, study of the origin and current state of the cosmos, right, the universe. Okay? So within the scientific world, you should know, there's huge dissatisfaction. There's huge unhappiness with the refusal of Big Bang to admit or look at alternative hypotheses, right? Big Bang is not actually a theory. What's the difference between a theory and a hypothesis? Big Bang is a hypothesis. Do you know what is that?
Need to be tested. No?
Very good. Hypothesis is a construct that has to be tested in reality to become a theory. So there's no way to test the Big Bang. Okay? All right? And as we see, also, as the failures or weaknesses become exposed more and more in the Big Bang, the theoretical physicists, which means what, actually? What are they? They're not like Maxwell or Rutherford in the laboratory. They're what? Like Einstein. What are they? Mathematicians. This is all conceptual. Impossible to test. Okay? As the holes start to be exposed, so-called fudge factors start to come out. In other words, we have to invent new mathematical formulas to account for weaknesses, right? So two of the more popular ones recently, do you know? Dark matter, okay, and dark energy. They were invented literally to make up for deficiencies in the Big Bang, okay? Interesting, right? Also, black hole. That's another invention, mathematical invention, created to make up for deficiencies with the Big Bang. Okay? All right, let's take a look at the tenet of modern cosmology. Again, based on the whole concept of a violent universe, right? Not a peaceful universe. Okay? And that is that our sun is what? This idea came out after 1945, after the Manhattan Project, after the explosion of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, after the development of the hydrogen bomb in 1950. Okay? The sun is what, according to this theory? A star. But how is it powered? Sun, right? This is the modern theory. What is the driving force in the sun, creating its energy? The driving force is gravity. Gravity. And what is gravity? Newton started this theory, right? What is the idea of gravity? Every body in space, everything in space, the universe, has what? Pulling. So-called gravitational force, right? Isn't it? So the sun, being gigantic, has huge gravitational force, creating at the center incredibly high temperature, incredibly high pressure. And that gravitational force causes the primary elements in the sun. Primary one is which? They feel. Number one is what? What is the first element? Hydrogen. This is causing hydrogen, okay, to fuse with itself, right? With its isotopes, hydrogen 3, hydrogen 2, and hydrogen 3, and form helium. Okay? In other words, atomic fusion, okay, under violent conditions. And what is the earthly equivalent of this idea? They've achieved it. I gave you a hint. Not the atomic bomb, the hydrogen bomb. Okay? The hydrogen bomb has heavy water at its core, which is H isotope of hydrogen, H2H3. An atomic bomb is exploded, which causes that to fuse and then release tremendous energy. And that's what they say is taking place at the sun. So this, again, hypothesis is called thermonuclear sun. In other words, the sun is a continually exploding hydrogen bomb. So at the very core of our solar system is this violent, incredibly violent system, equal to a hydrogen bomb. And again, with the Big Bang, our very creation was in violence, a violent explosion. Okay? These are the current ruling paradigms. The Big Bang, although there are alternatives, but the Big Bang rules, really, okay? And the thermonuclear sun. Okay? So what do you think? Is this a peaceful universe or not? Very unpeaceful, right? And unless we change that view, we can't really have a peaceful world, don't you think? If violence is at the very core of our cosmology, our worldview, how can we achieve peace, right? Okay? So it's actually essential that we correct these incorrect concepts, okay? And see what really is, okay? So let's take a look then at what the universe perhaps is more accurately doing, okay? So let's see. So I'd like to ask Naomi, my fiance, to please come up and write the character for key on the board. Because this character from Chinese calligraphy, right, which also is used in Japan as kanji, expresses perfectly a more accurate representation of the universe. Yeah, big, please. Here, use this. Maybe use this, right? And write big. Meanwhile, while she's doing that, can we pass these around? These are ferns from the high street. Please pass around, take a look. I don't know if there's enough for everybody, but share. By the way, which group is yin, which group is yang? Please think over. Very interesting study. Okay. Now, what are you seeing here when you look at the ferns? These, by the way, we can saute these after class, okay? You see that also here on your handout. This pattern. Okay, can you see lightning? Can you see a different kind of fern also, right? What are you seeing here? You have one stream of energy, isn't it? One stream. And then first it does what? Divides into what? Two, right? And then two streams come out, right? And then each of those streams does what? Two, right? And then if you see closely, those little mini streams divide again. This division goes until you actually reach every cell in the plant, which we can't see. It becomes microscopic, right? But do you see that pattern? Do you see that? This is what we call yin and yang. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, right? And so on to infinity. What is the modern terminology used to describe that pattern? And they're discovering this as everywhere. Everything is reflecting this. Do you know? This is called fractal. 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 So that means from the macroscopic view, you have streams of energy, right? Dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing infinitely. From the microscopic view, you have patterns which then repeat. Larger and larger and larger and larger. Okay? To infinity, actually. So these are just examples on your handout. And if you go, like Google image, please write down fractals in nature. Image after image comes up because they're everywhere in nature. Everything is actually a fractal pattern. Okay? And as it turns out, this is the pattern of creation throughout the universe. How the universe continually manifests. Okay? So let's see this concept of ki. Ki. Not Kushi Institute, by the way. Very interesting coincidence, right? So ki, does anybody know how we translate this word ki?
Energy.
Yeah, life energy, right? So if you study shiatsu, if you study the palm healing, if you practice chanting, you are using energy. And that's what we teach here at KI in our courses, how to use energy to heal. And how do you think food and cooking fit into that? Food and cooking. What is food? Condensed energy, right? Cooking is manipulating, releasing energy by fire, by water, by salt, isn't it? Okay? So actually, all of what we study here is all how to use energy for health and well-being. Various techniques are applied, okay? That's our curriculum here.
And that sign means life energy, the Japanese.
This is the Japanese character for that.
For life energy.
Life energy. But this also tells us the story of the universe. Let's explain, right? Beyond life energy. Or we can say life energy encompasses the universe, right? So this outer portion means the streaming of manifestation from the universe. Endless streaming of manifestation. That means being, coming into being throughout the universe, okay? Do you follow that concept? Okay? Which is like a stream. And this, can you imagine this inner portion? What this means? You won't believe it. It means rice plant. So the universe, through its endless manifestation, in our world here, the manifestation of that pure energy, especially in the plant world, is what? Asian people said rice, okay? You can say grain, okay? So what's the takeaway from that?
It's the energy.
To experience the energy, right, of the universe, we need to do what? You need to come here to KI, right, and learn how to cook and how to eat. And as you can see, all grains, right, have, can you see this? What is that? The rice has it too, but the rice is kind of bending down. Do you know these things like hairs? Do you know? Even corn has that. What do we call that in corn? The corn silk, right? Okay? So the name for this, the hair, is on. A-W-N. And what does that remind you of? Reminds you of what? Initially facing the universe, pointing toward the cosmos, isn't it? What is this? These are antennae, charging the energy from the entire universe. Can you see? All right. Initially all pointing straight up. And as the plant matures, they start to bend down, meaning that they have something like charged the battery. They're full of energy. And now they become heavier and they start to lean down. And instead of heaven, they start to charge energy from the earth. Can you understand that? Having filled up the battery, now they want to charge the opposite energy from earth. Isn't that beautiful? Okay?
Beautiful photos.
They are, right? Please take a look. This is South River miso, by the way, the rice field here in Massachusetts. This is Scottish barley. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. And each of these grains, which is connected to one of these antennae on, isn't it? Is something like a microchip storing that energy. Can you understand? From the cosmos and from the earth. So that's why we say grain is incredibly charged with life energy. Okay? Can you see? Should we pass around? Okay. So when you eat grain, what happens? You begin to receive energy from where? The entire cosmos, right? And what is that energy? Through your intuition, you can begin to feel a certain way. How do you feel? Very what? Violent or peaceful? Competitive or cooperative? One peaceful world or one warlike world? One peaceful world. Because you're intuiting that peaceful universal consciousness, which is peace. How about if you eat beef? What kind of energy comes? Instead of this, what? More. What kind of energy? Think about the lifestyle of those foods also, those animals, right? Not peaceful. Not happy. Isn't it? You know, modern day, like feedlot, modern day industrial farming. Those creatures are not happy at all. Okay? So no wonder confused, chaotic, not peaceful energy comes when you eat those foods, right? Can you see? All right? All right. So grain is at the center of the creation of the universe and appearance of human beings. And not only that, but this sign shows us how manifestation comes into being. So what's the very first appearance from the universe? What? Yin and yang, right? So two. From one comes two. So that in your fern, how do we see that in your fern? Right? From one, two. Isn't it? Okay? Then from two comes what? Four. One, two. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then look again on the fern. What happens? Again, right? 8. Then again, dividing. 16. 32. 64, which is, do you know that number 64? It's very special for Oriental cosmology. What book is based on the 64 divisions? so-called I Ching, right? The book of Oriental cosmology, right? I Ching. Simply a reflection of that universal creative pattern, which is the way our universe manifests. Okay? So this fractal division is one expression of this ancient cosmology, right? Going back thousands and thousands of years, okay? And we see it here, okay? And as we look closer and closer, we see it in every level. That same fractal yin and yang pattern. We see it in our human body. We see it on the earth. We see it in the galaxy. And we see it in the universe at large. So let's take a look, okay? So our human body, we have the two big poles, yin and yang poles, right? Coming from heaven and coming from earth. One pole is our North Pole at the top of the head. Okay? This pole is positively charged, right? The other pole, down at the opposite end, so-called genital region, this is negatively charged. And the origin of this positive pole is force coming down from the universe, showering down on the surface, so-called heaven's force. And the source of the energy coming into the South Pole, is the Earth's rotation. We call that Earth's force, that's spinning up. That's the force that makes your hair grow. That's the force that makes plants grow, primarily, okay? Heaven's force is the force that makes rain fall, okay? It makes things more solid and dense, okay? And then along this, between these poles, you have a charge. Strong charge. Something like a life core, energy life core, deep in the body. And along that, 7 nodes or centers arise. 7 highly charged nodes. Do you know what these are called? Chakras. So-called chakras, right? And these were well known, especially in India, okay? And these chakras, energy gathers there. High energy is there. Your primary life force is in the central region. And from this life force core, the energy comes up toward the surface, bubbles up, just below the surface of the skin. Okay? Okay? Do you know what these lines are called? Ridges or lines are called? Invisible. These are the meridians, right? Okay? This is our energy structure. But because everything in this universe obeys the fractal yin and yang pattern, these meridians, which run below the skin, divide, branch, fractally. Smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, right? And at the end of each of these fractal branches, at the microscopic level, are tiny spirals of energy, okay? Which we can't see. But that what they are doing is channeling ki, life force, from the cosmos, right? So this invisible energy stream, this is our skin, this is the meridian. Our invisible energy stream obeys the law of fractal yin and yang. Okay? Now, can you imagine what each of these tiny spirals actually is or becomes? We have trillions. Each one is alive because charged. That's part of it. These are the body's cells. Every single living cell is receiving this life energy. But again, this particular structure is invisible. Okay? We can't see it. However, a parallel system is coming out. We can say, by the way, this is coming from heaven. Heaven. This force. Coming from the earth, parallel to this is another fractally dividing system. Okay? And this Earth dividing system, right, merges with these tiny spirals, with also tiny spirals, which we call capillaries. So what system do you think this is? Capillaries. Which if you look at physiology, right, you'll see this system is also fractally dividing. Big arteries, branching, smaller and smaller, and that is our blood system. And this blood carries nutrients to these tiny spirals and fills these in with material from the earth, minerals, protein, fat. Okay? And what's the result? These cells now become what?
Sure.
Physical. Okay? And in between these two, we're breathing. Also from the atmosphere, air. Do you know our respiratory system is a perfect fractal? One stem, branch, 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 and the little spirals at the end are what? Air sacs. Isn't it? Fractal. How about your nervous system? Central nervous system, brain, right? What happens? Branch, 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 branch until everything is connected. Fractally. Do you know your liver is also a fractal? The network of ducts. Perfect, like a tree. Did you know? Yeah, please see, right? It's a perfect fractal. All of our systems are actually obeying the law of fractal yin and yang, right? So our body is a fractally formed entity, merging heaven and earth, right? Because the stream of blood is originating with the soil, isn't it? And the atmosphere, water, etc., okay? What comes from our earth, this is originating from this cosmos, this energy body. So when you come back to the KI, we'll study more and more in depth how this energy form is there and how we can use this in health and healing too, right? And consciousness as well. Okay? All right. So this is microcosm, right? Our body as a whole and then all of its cells and systems. Then at the other extreme is the macrocosm. Okay? And this study is very much throwing into question the Big Bang. Okay? So please take a look at your handout again. Please see. Right? Please see this image, right? This is one of the main challenges to the Big Bang. And these discoveries support our macrobiotic understanding of fractal creation, yin and yang. Okay? So what this is an image. The Earth is here and it's looking out into space. In 2003, okay, astronomers discovered the Sloan Great Wall, a supercluster of galaxies. That means many galaxies together. 1.36 billion light years. That's inconceivable, right? Long. Such a structure would require 250 billion years to form. Its discovery may invalidate the Big Bang hypothesis. This is only the most recent of these discoveries. There were earlier ones. Please keep in mind this Big Bang idea goes back to around the 1920s, 1930s, right? These are very recent discoveries.
And where is Earth on this?
Right in the middle. Okay? So what are these giant structures? Superclusters of galaxies. Well, they're exactly the same thing as your fern. They're the exact same form, pattern as your circulatory system. Same pattern as your energy form, your key body. In other words, these are giant streams of energy going how many billion light years? 500? And then dividing. Continuously fractally dividing. Okay? By the way, just take a walk outside. You'll see endless examples of fractals. The trees that are all over the place. Every plant outside, right? Very easy to see, right? Okay, so these are the fractal energy divisions. This is, what's the dimension here again? 1.36 billion light years. And these are all over the universe, right? And what do you think, not cells, but what is each little spiral at the end? From the point of view of the whole thing, they're tiny. From our point of view, they're gigantic.
Galaxies.
These are galaxies. So this establishes two things. These galaxies are fractally formed from energy. And they obey the law of fractal and spiral formation. And also, by the way, they are not isolated. Do you understand? Present view, the gravitational model, says that all bodies in the universe are isolated. Independent islands in the universe. How about this view? Everything is what? Just like every part of your body is what? Part of an interdependent system. Not divided, not isolated, but unified. Okay? So from our immediate body, cells, isn't it? Meridians, chakra cells, meridians, right? I'm getting it backwards. Chakra, meridians, branches, cells, circulatory, nervous, all of our systems, fractal, all the way up, okay, to the macro universe. We see the same pattern, okay? By the way, when you see it from the side, you see this stream and branching. But can you imagine when you see it looking this way, what do you see? A spiral, right? Like this. So it depends on your perspective. Something like the idea of wave particle or wave spiral. Okay? So seen from the side, same thing a tree. If you see the branches from the side, it's like this, right? Isn't it? If you see it from the top, they're coming out in a spiral pattern. All right? Okay? So the discovery, recent discovery of these giant structures, and this is only one example, very much invalidates the Big Bang. And why is that? Because what is the Big Bang saying? Everything began when? About 13 billion years ago. Takes 250 billion years for one of these things to appear. It's older. So the universe is much older and much broader and large than we can imagine. Do you guys agree? And we're discovering it more and more, especially as more satellites go out. Right? More powerful radio telescopes are invented. Okay? That idea is completely out of date. Then the second concept that cancels the Big Bang is the whole concept of the expanding universe, which is the foundation of the Big Bang. And you know what that's based on? That expanding universe idea? This is based on something called the redshift.
The what?
Redshift. This is how they think they're measuring distance and velocity. So you know this is based on the so-called concept of Doppler. You know Doppler? So the train is coming toward you, ding, 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 right? Remember that? And then passes you, ding, 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 ding. So it goes from high frequency to low frequency, right? As it recedes away from you. Is that high frequency more yin or more yang? Ding, 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 ding.
Yang.
Higher frequency yin. Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding. This is yang. So objects in space that are moving away are thought to emit red, infrared. So-called red shift. They're shifting toward the red. You understand? Things coming toward us, what color do you think? Blue. Do you understand? Okay? Ding, 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 ding. That was the so-called Hubble effect. He was the guy, the astronomer, that supposedly discovered this, right? Okay? So what astronomers have found in the universe are these incredibly high redshift objects called quasi-stellar objects. And because they have such high redshift, the highest redshift in the observable universe, it's assumed they must be the furthest away objects emitting the most powerful energy. Okay? And they are used as justification for this expanding universe. Their existence means the universe is expanding at its periphery because these quasars are there, right? High redshift. But recently, more recently, the Halton Arp, who was considered the Galileo of the 20th century, discovered, and you can see this on the handout. This central image is actually a galaxy, and right adjacent to that is a quasar. Okay? Can you see the smaller thing on the lower left, right? Something like this. Galaxy is here, right? And then here is the quasar, right? So modern astronomy says that that is far out in space, far out from the galaxy. The galaxy is much closer because it has a low redshift. And the quasars just happens to be in the vicinity of the galaxy looking out, but it has a high redshift and is much further out. But Halton Arp, the astronomer, I'll write his first name because you should know about him. He's kind of like a pioneer. Discovered there was a bridge between the galaxy and the quasar, an actual connection. So rather than being way off in space, the quasar is actually in the same area as the galaxy, and in fact is being emitted from the galaxy. This is the parent galaxy, this is the child, right? And he discovered that the redshift was not a question of velocity, moving away, but a matter of the age of the object. Younger objects have a more red shift, older objects a lower red shift, right? So that questions and throws into complete chaos the idea of an expanding universe. The universe may not be expanding. Okay? So those two scientific discoveries have demolished the Big Bang. Yes, please.
I don't understand how that kills that theory.
Because they say that these are the furthest distant objects in the universe and they're accelerating. Therefore, the universe is expanding because they have high redshift. He saw that they were connected. They were not far away. They're the same distance as the galaxies themselves. Okay?
So is it like a tree with leaves?
No, a parent and a child. This is the child of the galaxy. Okay?
So it's growing, but it's contained geographically within it.
Yeah. You can see maybe the image isn't the perfect image, but you can see there's a little bridge there between the galaxy.
The universe to expand.
The universe is not expanding. Okay? So it throws it all into question. Okay? Interesting, right? All right. Then next. The next issue again, right, after the Big Bang. Can you agree the fractal creation of the universe? Can you see that? Okay. And by the way, that process didn't have a beginning. Don't you agree? Do you agree? The universe had a beginning or no beginning? Why? Why does it have to have a beginning? What do you think? Beginning or no beginning? The universe never is the same. Every moment is changing, right? So yes, galaxies come and go, right? Worlds come and go. The content of the universe comes and goes, but the universe itself, the process by which those things come and go, is eternal. Do you agree? And that process is yin and yang. Okay? By the way, this image, this so-called wormhole, right? This shows you how present-day cosmology is very strange. These are all based on mathematics and computer modeling. Did you know that? Virtual. Black hole is a virtual construct. The Big Bang is a virtual construct. Dark energy is a virtual construct. Dark matter is a virtual construct, okay? Wormholes, string theory, all virtual, created by computer modeling and mathematics. Nothing to do with reality itself, okay? Do you think so? Or it's kind of fun too, right? To do those models, right? Let me read you. This is from my pamphlet on this topic. Let me read you what Nikola Tesla said. Do you know Tesla? How many of you are driving a Tesla? I think about $80,000, right? But I hear the price is going to come down. So. Or better invest now, right? They came out with this battery that powers the whole house. Did you read that? All right. Here's Tesla. Do you all please find out about Tesla? Alex and I went to his museum in Belgrade. He was from Serbia, right? He was the one who electrified the world, right? Today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments and wander off through equation after equation as they build a structure that has no relation to reality. Nikola Tesla. Okay? And he was the one that had electrified the world, right? Okay? Through alternating current. He had a battle with Edison. He and Edison had a battle, and Tesla won. Okay? Okay. All right, now, thermonuclear sun. Okay? There are so many the phenomena on the sun that defy this thermonuclear model. First of all, when you look at this image, right? The image of the sun's corona, which is the outer, the aura, if you will. Don't you get a feeling of like electric glow? Doesn't that give you the sense this is glowing electrically? Okay? And when you look at things like solar flares, sunspots, ejections of matter, solar wind, the granulated surface of the sun, none of this fits a thermonuclear model. It's a real stretch to have to fit these phenomena into that model, okay? By the way, do you know what Einstein once said? If the theory doesn't fit the facts, change the facts.
Repeat it.
If the theory doesn't fit the facts, change the facts. And that's what modern cosmology is doing, right? Okay? By the way, I forgot to do this. I forgot to explain this, but let me backtrack a little bit first. The whole idea of gravity, right? Getting back to the Big Bang. Gravity versus electromagnetic force, right? Electromagnetism. Which is stronger? Which is stronger? Anybody? Which is more powerful? Gravity or electric? Gravity is this, right? Right? Okay? Which is stronger? Gravity, right? You know gravity, right? Gravity is this, right? Supposedly Isaac Newton saw the apple fall down, right? Of course, the macrobiotic view of gravity is that Earth didn't pull it. It was pushed by space, okay? Osawa pointed that out originally, right? So you all know gravity, right? Did you see the movie Gravity? Yeah. Great movie, right? Very powerful, right? But is that force weaker or stronger than the electromagnetic force?
Weaker.
Can you prove it?
The planet staying in alignment with the sun.
Can you prove it? You want me to prove it right here? These are neodymium magnets. Neodymium is element number 60. It's part of the so-called rare earth metals. Every Prius, who drives a Prius? I knew you had one. And every Prius has about 1 kilo magnet of neodymium in the electric motor. And most of those rare earths come from China. Did you know? China's more or less controlling. And they have a lot of leverage. And of course, Japan and other hybrid car manufacturers are very nervous about having China control that. Okay? But neodymium is one of the rare earths, okay? Okay? And used for creating powerful magnets. In the just like 1980, early 80s, these magnets were invented. Neodymium together with iron and boron, okay? So they're highly powerful. So our cool fusion research, did you know Alex and I were doing this since about 2004? Testing elements and whatnot. We would use these to test magnetic properties in carbon, which we had electrified, and it became magnetic. Strange, right? Very possibly iron was created. Micho had done those experiments 40 years earlier. So these are very powerful, far more powerful than conventional magnets, okay? And of course, all magnets have plus and minus. So when we put a magnet down on the surface, it's the entire Earth, according to the gravitational theory, pulling it down. Do you agree? You agree? Pulling the magnet down, right? Holding it. Yes, that's the current theory, right? We would say that actually gravity is pushing it down. Okay? So let's do an example here. The red is the positive charge. Can you see? Red? So that's this, okay? Positive. Let's put a blue minus charge. The blue is minus. Can you see? Red and blue, okay? These are several magnets stacked together, okay? So if gravity was stronger, when you put the opposite pole, what would happen? Nothing would happen. It wouldn't move, right? Correct? Because gravity would hold it down. But let's see what actually happens. Now don't forget, it's the power of the entire Earth holding that down. Watch carefully. What did you just see? How big is the mass of that compared to the Earth? Insignificant. But this magnetic force overrode the entire gravitational so-called pull of the planet. Here, anyone like to try, please? Please. We have more powerful magnets that we use also. You have to be very careful. If they snap together, you can't get them apart. So what do you think? Which force is stronger? Gravity and electromagnetism gravity is weaker. Okay? Okay? So the gravitational model of the sun, of the universe, is not correct.
What about the gravity of the sun? It would be stronger than Earth's gravity.
Our solar system, right? Sun is at the center, right? What's holding the planets in their orbits? The sun pulling them, or universe pushing? Universe is compressing everything from the outside. The problem with modern cosmology, like Big Bang, isn't it? Thermonuclear sun. They see everything originating from the inside out. From one singularity out. Isolated sun, burning nuclear fuel out. Our cosmology is from the outside in, from the universe in towards the infinitesimal points, through fractal dividing, right? Okay? All right. So if this sun, things like solar flares, the corona, mass ejections, solar wind, by the way, when that solar wind comes into the Earth, what does it create? Beautiful electromagnetic display above the poles, above Antarctica, above Finland, Aurora Borealis. Right? Has anybody ever been up there, Alaska? Why don't we do a field trip? This is on my bucket list. I want to do a macrobiotic field trip up to Finland. Okay? We can stay in the ice hotel. And we have a perfect excuse to eat salmon. Brown rice doesn't grow here. Yeah. Okay. Our vegan friends are saying, no, I'm not going to do that. We'll go to the rainforest instead. Is to see the Aurora Borealis, right? That is another electromagnetic phenomenon generated by electromagnetic particles and energy coming in from the sun. So what is the sun then? The sun is receiving energy from the periphery of the solar system. Okay? And the astronomers view that something like a bubble. Suppose here's the sun, right? Here are the planets, right? Suppose, right? And around that is a giant bubble. Okay? And this whole thing is moving. Actually moving and encountering resistance through the galaxy. Okay? That's why this resistance is making this part extend. Okay? So please take a look. You are here. Can you see that? You are here. This is the Milky Way galaxy. You are here means this is where our solar system is located. 2/3 of the way out. And this thing is rotating. So that means our solar system and planets, everything is being carried around the center. We're in something like a plasma cell. Okay? And this giant cell, right? This huge minus charge is at the periphery here. And the sun is positive charge. And what's actually happening is that is actually a giant spiral with the sun at the center. Positive charge center. Negatively charged periphery. Energy, electromagnetic energy, is streaming in toward the sun, charging it. And like when you turn on a light bulb, this radiates back out in the form of radiation, right? Light, heat, and energy. So-called solar radiation, solar energy.
Is the spiral contracting or expanding?
Contracting. And then back out. Back out. Okay? So it's not, the sun is not powered internally, but externally. And the sun is being powered by the galaxy. The galaxy, okay? All right? Please see, right? That same pattern, this one. That same pattern that I showed you, that fractal filament pattern that formed that connects galaxies in this giant stream, okay? Within a galaxy, that same pattern is fractally repeated in each spiral arm of the galaxy, this above this one, forming individual stars. So stars are also part of a stream, fractal stream connected. This is a recent discovery showing that protostars, 27 star-forming filaments in the galaxy. Can you imagine this? That same pattern. When I look at this, I think this looks very much like the neurons in the brain. This looks very much like the bloodstream. You understand that same pattern? Okay? Amazing, right? So stars are formed within these galactic filaments, and once they're formed, continue receiving energy from them. Okay? Not independently nuclear-powered devices, but connected, receiving from the outside, from the universe, okay? What do you think? Isn't this amazing? Okay, we could spend weeks studying this. All right? So how can we know this ourselves? Now, modern scientists are discovering here and there different elements of this. But how can we, as students of macrobiotics, put it all together? Because of what?
Because observing is happening all around us.
But it's happening around everybody else too, right? Because of this, right? Because of your food. You're charging directly that universal consciousness, isn't it? Rather than, right? Okay? From the cosmos itself. Okay? And you're studying the principle that explains the constant manifestation and creation of the universe. And what is that principle? Yin and yang, right? That explains fractal. It explains spiral. It explains ki, right? Do you agree? What a happy thing. Now we can declare once and for all one peaceful world, one peaceful universe. That one peaceful world is actually the manifestation on earth. We say heaven on earth, right? What does that mean, heaven on earth? As is above, so is below. Modern humanity is completely cut off from that heaven. Instead, the modern world is more and more becoming what? Hell. Paradise lost. So macrobiotics and you are regaining paradise, right? Just simply tuning in to what is. The nature of reality is this peaceful universe, right? So before we conclude, I'd like to share with you a practice, simple practice, to tune in. So you tune in to this peaceful universe. So you all know this, but let's do it before we adjourn tonight. Yeah, please pass her on. Thank you, this is great. We're going to use vibration to tune ourselves in to this peaceful universe. Separate out from this war and violent mentality, right? Okay. This is using sound. Okay. Sound of ah. Is that yin or yang? Ah. Allah. Brahman. God. Yin or yang? Most in. Infinite expansion representing. Ah, right? How about the sound me, me, my, mine. Yin or yang? Me, right? Not Brahman or Allah, but me. Most what? How about ooh, universe? Kind of where? Middle, right? This vibrational universe, right? Manifesting universe. So this going from God, right? Infinity, through the universe to us, this is showing the creation of the entire universe resulting in each of us. Have you heard that before? Never heard of Om? It was from this. Okay? So like yoga practice, they do. Last time I lectured at Jiva Mukti in New York. Jai, our macrobiotic yoga teacher, led us all in Om, Om, but it's actually derived from Om. So when you do this, you vibrate. Do you know what chakras are vibrated by which chakras? Higher or lower chakras? Lower. Try it. Then do ooh. You feel it goes up, right? ooh, and then do like head, right? So you're literally tuning. It's like tuning your instrument, tuning your Stradivarius, right? With the creation and manifestation of this universe, right? When you do this. Okay, also, if you have stagnation from cheese, right? From ice cream, right? From too much bread and sesame butter, right? Yes. That explains everything, right? This helps to loosen that. Loosen that. And on Tuesday night, I'm going to talk about opening your third eye, your pineal gland, which is your spiritual eye, and how often this becomes blocked, and how we can use sounds like this and other practices to shake loose that blockage and stagnation and open your spiritual vision. Sound exciting? All right, so let's close with this. This is the sound to align ourselves with the peaceful universe. So together with eating grain, this is a very powerful combination. Can you imagine? Okay. So first of all, let's stretch and straighten our posture. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then let's put our hands together. Right side represents earth, so put that down. Left side is heaven, put it on top. Touch your thumbs together to make a complete circuit. Okay? Now let's close our eyes. Quieting down. Try to empty your mind. Become empty, become centered. Quite frankly, forget everything I said tonight. And let's become quiet. Good. Just breathe in a relaxed, quiet way. Now you can start to breathe a little bit more deeply. That means more from your abdomen. So when you breathe in, let your abdomen expand in a relaxed way. And when you breathe out, let your abdomen contract also, not forced, but in a very relaxed way. So I'll begin the sound one time, and then second time, everybody please join in, okay? Everybody join. Let's continue. Twice more. Perfect, perfect. Now let's return to normal breathing, relaxed breathing. sitting quietly, keeping empty mind. And now you can feel vibrations, images, feelings of universal peace coming from the universe itself to this earth. Great, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So now let's go to the night cafe. Okay, thank you. Enjoy. See you next week. By the way, if you don't have this already, please take. This is our leadership program flyer. And it's this kind of study that we do every day during our leadership program. So if you'd like to take, please take. And please come. We invite you very much to come.